What's going on, guys? Nintendoeverything here, and today we are going to be talking about the Famitsu article that Nintendoeverything posted, talking about the new Pokemon Let's Go games, Pokemon Go, the 2019 game, Pokeball Plus, and all that fun stuff. It is a very in-depth interview. This was posted on July 1st, and I actually read it yesterday, and I was like, man, I really got to touch on this because there's a lot of interesting things in here. Now, I think Nintendoeverything are the ones who said they actually translated this. So I don't know how accurate it is in terms of the actual language used in the video. But nonetheless, let's get into it and kind of brush over this a little bit. This may be a semi-long video just because I'm going to try and point out the questions that may be something you guys are interested in actually listening to and me talk about. I will have the article posted in the description below, this article right here, everything, so that way you guys can kind of scout through it yourself. But you can find it on Nintendoeverything.com. At the top there'll be a breadcrumbs type thing going on there so you can read it. Anyway, so hopping into some of these questions here, it's let's browse and see what we can discuss. This is a good question. Expanding the Pokemon games to the Nintendo Switch has a big impact, but how do you feel about the current state of the Nintendo Switch platform itself? Mr. Ishihara says, I don't know if this has the ability to persuade the people who said a year ago that the Nintendo Switch wouldn't sell. Laugh out loud. So basically, he's making fun of himself because he's the one who said that. He said the Switch wouldn't sell, wouldn't be successful. So I thought that was kind of cool. But up until that point, a machine that integrated both handheld functionality and a home console was unheard of. So to be honest, it was hard to know how it would sell. I didn't see it selling. However, the overwhelming fun of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild made it popular. I think that had a big impact. For a launch title, it was outstanding. Okay, they're talking about Zelda. My impression is that Pokemon games up until this point have also been introduced at a point where the hardware already had a certain popularity and in turn accelerates adoption. Would now also be that kind of timing. Ishihara says exactly. However, the reason that we can release a title at this point in time is that we already had begun development at the time that the Nintendo Switch launched. Boom! I've been saying this for months. Now, it's like, I've been saying it like 90% because I say that because the other 10%, we didn't know there was two games, right? So I said, whatever this 2018 game is, it's been talked about, it's been in development since before the Switch ever came out. I still believe they got the development kits in 2014, and that kind of points to this right here. Now, how long? Let's Go has actually been in development for about 2.5 years, I think they said. But I may be wrong about that. I thought I'd read that somewhere, but nonetheless. Pokemon series has been focused on handheld devices for many years, so I'm very interested to see how the Nintendo Switch game will turn out. Will the play mechanics change? So this has been a big question because a lot of people think that this entire game is just going to fuck everything up and it's just going to be this giant clusterfuck of kitty type Pokemon, and it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be like the core games and all this stuff, and people are just losing their fucking mind because the catching mechanic has changed. Now, yes, that's changed, but let's listen and kind of see what the Pokemon CEO said. Like you said, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee will be the first Pokemon entries for a stationary device console. The Nintendo Switch does have the ability to play games on the go, but it was necessary to rethink development compared to how we've been doing it so far. That's where, starting with Masuda-san, there was a bit of trial and error. What should we attempt when deploying the Pokemon series on the Nintendo Switch? Apart from improving the experience through graphics and sounds, what we decided on was the attempt to connectivity with the Pokemon Go smartphone. So when you're thinking of the planning process for this project, they're trying to think, man, how are we going to make this game a console experience? Because they already knew they were developing the handheld one. Like, they already knew, like, that was something that was planned way back in about 2014. That's the game that's been developed all this time. So from a console standpoint, this is something they're foreign to. So they thought, you know, how can we make the most sense and get the most out of a console experience? So that's what I want people to keep in mind is this game was not ever planned to be a handheld experience. The reason why this game is different is because from the beginning, the get-go was a console experience. They did not even really want to relate this to a handheld experience because they were already developing it. So you can kind of understand where the brainstorming and where the thought process is there, because I mean, it takes a lot of kind of figuring out. I mean, it's like, how do we do this? How do we make it fun for everybody? How do we make it fun for families, for friends to play together? And they thought that this was the best way to do it. And honestly, I think they nailed a home run. I think that this game is going to be perfect in terms of a console type experience to where you can play with your family and friends. Is it the one that we're wanting? Not necessarily. That's coming next year. But nonetheless, there are a lot of core elements in this game that will also be in the 2019 games and have also been in the handheld realm. It's a surprising idea, but that allows for expanding the play mechanics a lot, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, connecting with Pokemon Go made sense. We'll get into that one. The Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu Eevee games are very innovative and something we look forward to following the trends on after launch. By the way, what is your target audience? We already know that. It's the new games, the new kids. Let's see this one. There we go. So here he kind of talks about the perception and how things change with players. I see, sort of an introduction to home console gaming, right? Hence a catching mechanic that's familiar to Pokemon Go players. Now, that's kind of interesting because Pokemon Go players, I guess they're insinuating automatically that they are console gamers, which is interesting because they're playing Pokemon Go on a mobile phone. So it's very kind of an interesting comment. Masuda-san was deeply involved with the design and layout in Pokemon Go. So I was wondering what would happen if we import the same style play into the Pokemon series. Rather than battling a Pokemon, weakening it, and catching it, you time your throw with the shrinking rings and catch the Pokemon. I feel like that would be the most natural way of catching Pokemon for Pokemon Go players. However, apparently there were comments like, that's not the Pokemon way, and expressions of discomfort from various people, laughter, kind of saying in a joking way. And, I mean, yes and no, because when we were kids, we always wanted to throw a fucking Pokeball at our screen and catch something. I mean, you can make the argument in terms of redundancy or the Pokemon way. I mean, you do the exact same thing. That's what's so funny. Like, you literally weaken a Pokemon, you use 2 or 3 moves, paralyze it, poison it, whatever, and then you just chuck Pokeballs. Like, it's literally zero difference between that redundancy and the redundancy of me having my Joy-Con and throwing it at the TV. Not, indirectly, figuratively. But it's just, I don't know. The concept is interesting, and I kind of get it a little bit, but not to the degree that most people are expressing it. Let's see. There has been dramatic change in the Pokemon series, but is there an intent behind making challenging titles? So basically, is there a difficulty? Is there a plan on making a harder game? I think that was a good question. Thanks to Pokemon Go, there is new awareness of Pokemon from players who have never played those games before. All over the world, parents and grandparents are playing. Grandma! Come play Pokemon with me! I doubt that's happening. Still the entry stages of Pokemon and what we'd like to see take it up a notch. That being said, to suddenly go from Pokemon Go to the Pokemon series might be too big of a step for some people. I'm sort of repeating myself, but I like people to progress from Pokemon Go to Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, which has similar playstyle before ultimately playing the main title. So basically, please play this game before 2019 comes. What was the reasoning for choosing yellow as the basis? Basically, not much to go into right here, but he basically says, well, for the Let's Go aspect, Pikachu was the first Pokemon to follow you in the original games, so why not base it off that? Is basically is what he says. Again, you guys can read a lot of this article. I'm not going to cover every single question because this is a very big article, and I'm kind of trying to pick and choose the important ones. Let's see. By the way, looking back at, so this is kind of cool. I like reflection. By the way, looking back at Pokemon Yellow, what kind of game do you think that was? At the time in 1996, Pokemon Red and Green had been released around the world, and we had already started working on Pokemon Gold and Silver. See, this is how game development goes, guys. At the time in 1996, Red and Green had been released. So as soon as Red and Green were done, boom, started working on Gold and Silver, which is interesting because when you look at the past interviews, Masuda-san said that these were going to be the only games, and then they finally got, okay, this worked. Let's make Gold and Silver, and then that's it. We're done. We'll include both regions. Have fun. And here we are in 2018. So that's interesting. But again, remember this, guys. This is how game development goes. This is not some shit where they just wait. They announce the game, and then, oh, okay, time to start developing. No. When they make the announcement, anytime for any game, they make an announcement, that game is already probably more than halfway through development at that time. it's very simple because they need to start the marketing window, and however they want to start marketing it is how they want to start doing so. They jumped the gun last year at 2017's E3 because that was last June, and then we got the announcement in May, so it was almost a year later. So that was pretty crazy. Let's see. That's just around the time when the anime had begun and many people were seeing Ash's adventures on their TVs at home. We decided that we're going to make a game for those people. Something focused on Pikachu would be at best. As you know, this resulted in the first game that allowed you to have Pikachu walking along with you and brought together the game and the TV show. So yeah, I mean, that's a good point. We all wanted to, basically red and yellow was Ash. I mean, that's kind of what they were wanting to do there. Hey, hold on a second. Lucy, stop snoring. Dog is snoring like crazy. Alrighty. Now 20 years have passed with the understanding that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are based on Pokemon Yellow. Will there be any differences? So this was pretty cool. The process of catching Pokemon and the tempo of the game itself has changed a lot. So tempo of the game is important because we're not just going to be going city to city, breezing through the game. There's going to be plot points. There's going to be things that interrupt the flow of the game that give us a adventure-based experience. Furthermore, you can now play with just a single Joy-Con and can throw Pokeballs by flicking the Joy-Con as well, so the control scheme has changed a lot too. Being able to use a second Joy-Con to add a second player is also something that wasn't part of the previous game. No shit. What kind of experience should we picture when playing this game in two-player mode? Well, it's kind of self-explanatory. It seems like the connection to Pokemon Go might change how you collect Pokemon in-game as well. He says that is true. There are many players who have caught hundreds, if not thousands, of Pokemon in Go. So questions like, should we allow players to transfer those to Pokemon Let's Go? And how do we accomplish that? Kept piling up, but we're figuring out ways to make sure that everyone can enjoy collecting Pokemon. Furthermore, since the game is on a home console now, the graphics and the fact that you can play the game on a big screen make this an almost entirely different game to Pokemon Yellow. Again, they said a while ago this game was inspired by Yellow. So it's very different than remake or reboot. Okay. Alright, next page. Let's see here. No, go away. Hate advertisements. Whatever. Let's see. It's safe to say the game experience will be entirely different, isn't it, in terms of presentation? Since we're putting Pikachu and Eevee in the middle of the games, we are really focusing on creating the feeling of adventuring together with these two creatures and make them seem alive to the furthest extent possible. For instance, how they climb on your shoulder, how they come closer to you and pet them, so that you can really get the sense of them being there with you. I think this is one of the benefits of having a home console where you can display something on a big screen. Well, yeah. I mean, I have a 55-inch OLED TV, or OLED, what do you want to say? It's seeing me petting Eevee on that bitch is going to be cool as hell. So I'm glad they kind of thought that and put that into perspective. Of course, that means we're aiming for something closer to what you see in the anime rather than the impressive show of strength you see in Pokemon Battle Revolution. So mentioning Pokemon Battle Revolution is pretty cool because a lot of people have mentioned in the past weeks or months even, man, why not mimic Battle Revolution? Why not do that? You know, that is really cool. That's hardcore. We should do that. And so it's kind of cool to see him mention it. But I mean, I think a lot of us can interpret based on what we've seen from Let's Go that this is definitely going to be more like the anime, like Yellow was. I think we'll see Jesse and James. I think they'll be in the game. I think Meowth will be in the game. Now, if Meowth talks, I'll lose my shit. If Meowth is talking in this game, I will lose my shit. But yeah, it's definitely going to be more anime based, as you can tell, like riding Onix and things like that, riding your Pokemon. That was something that they did in the anime all the time. And they, weren't able to incorporate in the original games. Maybe this will make me sound paranoid, but if the game design changes drastically, won't we lose some of what makes Pokemon what it is? Okay, so there's the question for you, for everybody, all the doubters and stuff out there, the haters on this game. There is your question. So what is the answer? Amongst those who have played the game, there may be some who feel like it has changed. However, we've actually been continuously changing the formula for the games since the beginning, and in the end, the players have accepted those changes. Along those lines, this time we are also changing things around, but that's part of the long-standing tradition of Game Freak and the Pokemon series. We won't make mistakes with the basics, so please trust us. Please listen to the man. Please. Game Freak has continuously proven to us they make good games. I won't say great because not all Pokemon games are great, but they make good and great games. They know what they are doing. Trust me, trust them, and be patient, because next year's game is going to be something out this world. I'm trying not to think about it because I don't want to talk about it too much because it's so far off, and we have awesome games coming out this year. But I think about it every day. I turned on Ultra Moon today. I'm doing a Wonderlock, not on the channel. I don't have a capture card, but I'm playing it by myself. And it just makes me so hungry for a new game. Like, the 2019 game is going to be so dope. I can't wait. And whether or not Mr. Ishihara or Junichi Masuda like it or not, I will be playing that bitch on my TV most of the time. So, boom. So basically the new game also builds on the foundation of course. Speaking of connectivity, Pokemon Go. So this was pretty cool. I'll touch on this because of kind of the verbiage they use. There were a lot of challenges in how to use the communication abilities and existing services for each device. Of course, there was the question of how to connect the Nintendo Switch and smartphones through Pokemon Go. To start off with, these devices aren't made to communicate with each other. When we asked around, of course, we were told that's not possible, but we had no option but to ask people to please find a way. Yo, find a way, bitch. Find a way. This shit needs to happen. I think that's hilarious. I mean, you're the Pokemon CEO. You're like the most famous and profitable business out there. I mean, you're so well known, bigger than Star Wars. Don't know if you guys saw that. Pokemon is bigger than Star Wars. Put that in perspective. That shit there is crazy to me. If I had that article, I'd list it to you guys. Let's remove from mystery. What can users expect from Pokeball Plus and what type of device it is? And I'll let you guys read that. We already know. Build a Pokeball, you put a Pokemon inside it. Pretty cut and dry. Let's see. I think this would be an important feature for options as well. In other words, feel like we're playing with similar Pokemon. In other words, feeling like you are playing with similar Pokemon even in different games is something that's mainly possible because it's a Pokemon game, because it is a Pokemon game in the first place. Exactly. However, in Pokemon Go, the aim is to collect Pokemon, whereas in other games, the aim is to raise and battle them, so the game balance changes a lot. Deciding what parts of those games to have cross-compatibility between was a big challenge for Game Freak. Until this point, the balance had been maintained by not having that functionality. By allowing this functionality now, it definitely creates new challenges. Yeah, I mean, I think they put a lot of work on themselves making this act or talk with Go so much. I mean, imagine if they had, I don't want to say it would be easier, obviously, because the 2019 game is taking a lot longer, but it just seems like, I don't want to say needless, but I feel like this could have been something implemented without Go. I feel like you could have even been able to have the gameplay similar to Go and Pokemon Go players still play it, but obviously you add the incentive to carry your Pokemon over. But the interesting thing with that is, though, too, I don't see Pokemon Go players having any type of connection with their Pokemon. So that's why I think that the Pokemon Go transfer to the Switch game isn't 100% necessary, because maybe there are some people out there who are like, oh my god, my baby Nidoking. But I'm like, when I'm playing the game, and that's something I'm really into. When I play Pokemon, I try and bond with Pokemon, but on the phone, on the app and stuff, all you care about is getting the Stardust, you care about getting the candies, you care about evolving your Pokemon, and you just don't, I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem like a connection type game where you bond with your Pokemon, but maybe you guys are out there bonding the fuck out of here, but I'm not. Let's see. One thing that we'd like to know, will any completely new Pokemon appear? It feels like they might. And that's what's so funny, because it says, will any completely new Pokemon appear? It feels like they might. They? Plot twist. Now, there could be new Pokemon. I doubt it. I think they'll stick to one to bridge to the new games. That seems to be the consensus, but I don't know. I'm really excited to see what that is. I actually did excuse me. I actually did a video on that, so be sure to check that out too. The game is set in Kanto region, so some people might look at it like a remake of Pokemon Yellow, but we are planning to add new elements, including Pokemon that you see for the first time. So it makes me think that there's more than one, or Pokemon that you see for the first time. I don't know if they mean just for Kanto, Pokemon you may see for the first time in Kanto, or entirely. So it's very interesting. Let's see. So they talk about Pokemon Quest here. I'm not really going to get into that. It's a smartphone game. You guys can read about that if you'd like. Let's see. I think this is actually a good question. Let's see. Where'd it go? Come on. At E3 2017, you announced by video message that we would see the latest Pokemon title for Nintendo Switch in 2018 and beyond. Can you talk a bit about where you are at currently in this regard? Juicy stuff right here. To avoid misunderstandings, the title we are developing for launch around the second half of 2019 is a different title to Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, and it's sad he has to say that. Currently, the development team at Game Freak is working on that on a different line to that of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Basically, it's a different type of game, similar to what the 3DS has been putting out the last few years. I mentioned previously that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee is a game that will help bring people who have played Pokemon Go into the Pokemon series, but the game launching in the second half of 2019 is something that I especially want those who have played previous Pokemon games to look forward to. This game is going to be dope. I can't fucking wait. Oh my god, I can't wait. It's so hard not to get excited about it, but can you give us a hint about the contents of the game? Good question. Just like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, it will be sold on the Nintendo Switch, but the big difference is that while it is a game for the Nintendo Switch, it is made while the hands-on feeling of the previous games in mind. So, the 3DS games, the handheld experience. We have a different playstyle in mind to that of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Of course, since the Nintendo Switch is a home console, we are also improving things like the graphics. My boy. But again, when it comes to playstyle, we're focusing on keeping the hands-on approach that previous games have cultivated. So, there you go. For those of you who thinks the 2019 game is just going to be a continuation, oh my god, they're going to keep doing Pokemon Go, the franchise is falling apart, no. Stop that shit. Boom. 2019 game will be like past games. So even if both Pokemon Let's Go and the 2019 entry are both for the same console, the concept is quite different. That's what he just said. I'm repeating myself a bit, so you guys can read that one if you want. Let's see. So here they kind of go into Pokemon Go and its development, and where it's at right now. I'll go ahead and let you guys read that too. That wasn't something I was particularly interested in. And then here we go into kind of like the shopping aspects and things, buying plushies, toys, merchandise. Okay. Lastly, please leave a message for our readers that are looking forward to the new titles in the future. He says, Pokemon Quest is a result of Game Freak's efforts. Please download and give it a try. It's a fun game. I recommend it wholeheartedly. It's a little frustrating, but it's a good game. Pokemon Quest is available on Switch and soon smartphones as well, so I think that is an ambitious project and I'd like you to try it out in a different hardware and see how the experience changes. Pokemon Let's Go and Pikachu and Eevee are made to be easy to play for people that are just getting started with Pokemon. Of course, this also includes players coming to the title from Pokemon Go. The contents can be enjoyed by lots of Pokemon fans. Pokemon Let's Go connects the Pokemon Go and also the Pokeball Plus, which I think is quite an advanced way of playing. Please try it out, definitely. Lastly, heading towards second half of 2019, we are steadily working on our new title, so please look forward to further announcements. So, closing out, basically, he gave us some pretty good information. Assuming the translation and everything is correct, it looks like, the 2019 game is going to be fire, and it looks like the Let's Go games are going to have some interesting twists. Possibly more than one new Pokemon, don't know, but there's going to be different pacing of the game. There's going to be a lot of similarities to Yellow, but the tempo and things like that are going to change. So I'm looking forward to see what plot points they change in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and I'm just excited for the game in general. We're at is July 4th right now, and time is moving along fast. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's anything in this article that you personally read that you'd like to talk about in the comment section below. Please go ahead and shoot your comments and questions to me. If you're interested in what I think about any of these questions on this interview, please feel free to post it in the comment section. I communicate and talk to everybody that comments, on my channel. So I really look forward to talking to you guys about this. I thought it was a good interview. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Also, I have a little campaign going on right now. Follow me on Twitter, okay? Neo Squad is about that time, our first monthly giveaway. So every month from this point on up to the Let's Go games, I will be doing a monthly giveaway. Now the way to enter it is, as you see here, to enter, follow, like, and retweet this tweet. So follow me on Twitter, like and retweet this tweet. It is pinned to my profile and you guys will enter. Also, or subscribe to me on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to me on YouTube, I greatly appreciate that. If we hit 400 followers by the end of the month, I'll give away 3 $10 eShop gift cards. Okay, that's 30 bones. All right, so I'm committed to you guys, commit to me, and I promise we will make this shit happen and we will grow the Neo Squad. And that's pretty much it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry it's been a little dry. The news cycle's just been kind of weak when it comes to Pokemon, but happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Please be safe. Don't blow your hands and arms off with fireworks. Don't put fireworks in your car and drive and light them out windows and all sorts of crazy white people shit, okay? I'm out. Nintendoeverything. Thank you guys very much.